A doctor wrote me a prescription for joy, not a pill, joy. There I was in my late 50s, had a doctorate in pharmacy, and a woman in a white coat had to sit me down and tell me to go and be happy because I had genuinely forgotten how. I filled that prescription in a hand cream shop at Disney Springs, sobbing on the shoulder of a college kid that was working a summer job. Welcome back. This is Dr. Lisa, science back, soul supported the Zen community. And we're on day one of Ordinary Becomes Extraordinary. And today we're talking about why you still can't feel happy even after the hard part is over. Welcome to the last week of this series, and it's the one about joy, which, given where the first 3 weeks went, you've earned this. Here is where we went. Week 1, the ground gave way, and week 2 and 3, alone, and the fact that healing is not a straight line. And this week is the part I couldn't have written in advance because I didn't believe it while I was in it. This week is about what happens when the emergency finally ends and you notice that you really can't feel much of anything. That's the setup nobody warned you about. You survive the thing. The lawsuit resolves, papers get signed, season turns. And you sit there in the quiet, waiting to feel the relief you were promised. And it doesn't arrive. Now, on top of everything else, you have a new problem, which is that you think something must be broken in you. Nothing is broken in you. You're running a piece of standard human equipment, and it has been measured. In 1978, Philip Brickman, Dan Coates, and Ronnie Janoff-Bullman at Northwestern University published one of the most quoted studies in the whole of happiness research. They found people who had recently won major state lottery prizes. They found people who had been in accidents that left them paralyzed. And they found a group of ordinary people to whom nothing in particular had happened. Then they asked all three groups how happy they were. And this is the part that matters. How much pleasure they took in a list of very ordinary things. Talking with a friend, watching TV, eating breakfast, reading a magazine on the couch, getting a compliment. The famous headline is that the lottery winners were not much happier than the control group. Fine. Everyone knows that, but here's the one almost nobody quotes. The lottery winners rated those ordinary day pleasures as less enjoyable than the people who had won nothing at all. Not the same, less. Winning had actually dimmed their perception. And I want to be straight with you about the science because I'm not going to tell you a clean line that data doesn't support. That this was a small study, 22 winners. It was a cross-sectional, one snapshot, not a film. And the longer run work that came after it, following the same people for years, has shown that adaptation is frequently incomplete, that some events leave a permanent mark, and that people differ enormously. So this is not a law of physics. What survives all of that criticism is the shape. And the shape is what I need you to have today. 2 mechanisms. One is contrast. After a very big high, everything else gets measured against it and comes up short. The other is habituation. Whatever you get, you stop noticing. Now, put those 2 mechanisms next to the sentence you've been saying to yourself all year. I'll be happy when things go back to normal, when the house sells, when the settlement lands, when I get through this quarter. The sentence sets up a peak and then hands your whole capacity for pleasure over to it. And everything that's actually available to you today, in the meantime, gets graded against a thing that has not happened and wouldn't deliver anyway. Which brings me to the day a doctor prescribed joy. I was in the worst stretch of it, and my physician, who is not a mystic, who was a straightforward medical doctor, told me plainly to go and invite more joy into my life as an instruction, as a treatment. And I remember the specific indignity of it. I'm a pharmacist. I have a doctorate. I've spent my professional life on evidence and dosing and outcomes. And here a man is telling me, actually, she was a woman, telling me that my prescription is joy. And here's a woman telling me my prescription is joy. Although I were a person, as though I were a person who had misplaced hers. Let me do that again. And here's a woman telling me my prescription is joy, as though I were a person who misplaced mine. I had. And that's exactly what happened. So I did what I do, which is that I complied with the treatment plan. I took myself to Florida, and there's a poem about that trip, An Invitation to Joy, from Grounded in Chaos, page 64. This is an excerpt. I invite more joy to my life. Doctor's orders. I took myself to Florida. I paid for the vacation, so I took the vacation alone with Oshi. Oshi, my dear, sweet wonder dog, dutifully performing her duties as emotional support dog. I went shopping at Disney Springs. I bought L'Occitane, and they lovingly applied the hand massage. I lost my stuff in L'Occitane, and they comforted me. This dear, sweet college student from Georgetown University working a summer job brought the compassion of human touch, and she let me cry it out. A girl from Georgetown working a summer job at a hand cream counter gave me the first human touch I had let anyone give me in about a year, and I fell apart. She didn't flinch. She just let me cry it out. And that's in the book because it was one of the most important 10 minutes of that entire period. And it cost $18. And it was not on that treatment plan. But the poem does something I didn't notice until years later, which is it tells on me. Because I go on to list everything I did on that vacation: movies, swimming, books, Universal Studios. And then I write down what was really going on underneath it. Changing the payment source on all my accounts, reviewing that separation agreement, what's not done, when will it be done, and I filled the time with busyness and scheduled breaks, put myself on the shelf, and, my own words, I efforted at relaxing, an oxymoron of immense proportions. That is a woman on a joy prescription, treating joy as a deliverable, ordering it, scheduling it, grading her own performance at it, and getting it best modestly better. So here is day one, and it's only a diagnosis, not a fix. The fix takes the rest of the week. The diagnosis is this: you have almost certainly been waiting for a large event to hand you a feeling, and the research says the large event won't. And the waiting is quietly taxing everything ordinary that's available to you right now. The good news is genuinely good, and I'll give you the whole week to build it out. Joy is not restored to you, it gets built. And it gets built out of completely unremarkable material: hand cream, my dog, breakfast, a Tuesday. Today's challenge is to finish this sentence honestly on paper. I'll feel like myself again when. Whatever you write in that blank, look at it and ask one question. Is that thing going to hand me a feeling, or have I been putting a feeling in escrow? You're not fixing anything today. You're just finding out what you've been waiting for. And that sentence again is, I'll feel like myself again when. Write it, analyze it. Well, that's day one. If you've been waiting for a thing to happen before you're allowed to feel good, drop a "hello, it's me" in the comments so you can see how many of us are standing in that same waiting room. If this gave you one easier breath, help me pass it on. Like, subscribe, tap the bell, save it to your playlist, drop a comment. I read every single comment. Every share brings one more person into the Nez Zen community. Thank you so much to my subscribers. I really appreciate you. And that's how we build this one steadier day at a time. Tomorrow, why joy is built and not returned to you. And the acrostic I wrote like a fourth grader that changed my whole self-description. Science-backed, soul-supported. I'm Dr. Lisa, for the Zen community. This is day 1 of week 4. Ordinary becomes extraordinary.